Welcome to Call Me Didi, everyone. I'm your host Diva.
And I'm your host Sanchi, and let's get into today's episode. Today we have a beautiful guest with us. His name is Benjemen. How do we pronounce your last name, by the way?
Ilangovan.
Ilangovan.
Yes.
But for this episode, are you comfortable with us calling you Benji?
Benji.
Benji?
Benji is a popular dog's name.
Oh, are you
seen
still
the-
comfortable with it?
Yeah. There used to be a movie called Benji. There's a cartoon series Benji. So after all, if they don't remember my name, at least they'll remember the dog.
That is so funny. I can't. Anyway, before we continue, I just want to introduce Benjemen a little bit. So Benjemen is an international student turned startup entrepreneur. At 19, he created his first startup, Noah's Ark. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Noah's Ark.
A medical tourism company. In 2015, Benjemen arrived in Australia as an international student to pursue postgraduate studies in business management and health administration. Like many students, he worked on numerous gig platforms such as hospitality, delivery, and more until he landed a job in the corporate world. We'll talk more about it. Since then, he has successfully built multiple startups in Australia and India. He's currently the CEO and founder of My Gigsters, which focuses on helping self-employed people with financial services. My Gigsters is based in Lot 14 and is backed by Launchwick, Global VCs, the Department of Innovation and Skills South Australia, and notable angel investors. Welcome, Benji.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
All right, Benji, I've got my first question ready for you.
Yeah.
It is. Drum roll, please.
She always does. Always.
How are you and what's up in life?
Today, I really like coming here and having this chat and seeing you. I've been following what you're doing, so thanks for having me. That itself is a good thing.
Okay.
Yes.
But life in general, it can't be more blissful than what it is today, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, 100%. Super happy with what life is throwing at me.
Tell us more about it.
I think I have a family. I've got 2 kids, and I've got a startup. So I've got a
Startup is doing really well.
Yes, and it's a mixed thing. Some days are good, some days are bad, and some days are ugly. But that's a mixed bag. But the good part is, I love what I do. I do that every day. I wake up excited, regardless of how that day turns out to be. I've got 2 amazing kids and a lovely family, so they keep me equally busy. And then that's a cocktail for a good
Happy man.
happy man. Yes.
That's very interesting. Very few people will say that's a cocktail for a happy man, but I'm glad that you said that. So tell us a little bit more about your startup, My Gigsters. What is it? Give us your elevator pitch.
Yeah. So I run part of the mission that we work for is helping freelancers and self-employed people and independent contractors have financial security. If you're working for your own, you got to take care of yourself. Working for someone as a 9 to 5, the company will take care of you. In terms of leave, insurance, superannuation if you're in Australia or any part of the world, it's retirement. Our job is to take care of those who are independent. How we do it? We provide the technology to orchestrate payments and benefits and taxes and insurance through the companies and through the platforms that they work for. So one-liner, My Gigsters is an embedded financial service company helping gig platforms and marketplaces serve their workforce better.
That's nice. And how did you come up with this idea? This sounds so cool.
I think it starts with the origin story is me. I am the culprit of behind this. When I moved to Australia as a student, and this was 10 years ago? Oh my gosh, it's so long. 11 years ago, unlike many like me, and I know I'm sure they will get a few nods who is watching or listening to this. If you're here as an immigrant or a student, the first few things you do is pick up these kind of odd jobs. I was no different when I came here. I think that was kind of the start of having platform work. So I came here and I picked up a few jobs into delivery, into rideshare, into writing home assignments, home tutoring, IK furniture fixing, bartending. Earlier to that, even back home, I had the chance of doing a lot of side gigs. I had been a radio jockey, I had been
Really?
a master of ceremony, I've been a bar magician. So I had an experience of doing.
Bar magician.
Yes, it's a magician in the bar. You know, people get drunk and I show a few tricks. So I had a life full of a lot of side gigs. I call them, side gigs. Mainly driven because I wanted to earn some money for my own, but also loved the point that I could see life in different perspectives. So when I came here, I was super open to pick up anything that was available in Australia for me to balance student life and then earn some money. Fast forward, after I graduated and ended up being in the corporate world, and when COVID hit, there was a big spotlight on gig workforce. Government started looking at them, and there was a big surge in the demand of services like delivery, for example. We started seeing all sorts of deliveries coming through. People realized that they could work from anywhere and to anyone at any time, and because of lockdown, and that created a new wave of freelancers and digital workers being available. So I jumped on that opportunity to see, this world is changing, and I see the world becoming more flexible. I see the world where people will be their own bosses. People started realizing in COVID that they have passions and they have hobbies, and their hobbies can turn into money, and people started reflecting inward as to outward. And I saw that as a shift, not just in workforce, not just in professional pathways, but I saw a big shift in the mindset of how people considered or defined work. And I told my team, I was exiting another company, I was selling another startup. I was exiting this time, and I told the founding team that, this is the problem that we should be able to solve, because we've been there, we have been there, we have experienced this. I've seen what it means to be independent, especially as an immigrant who have no clue about being an independent worker in Australia, especially. And we started My Gigsters for the whole point of solving that problem, where, if you're independent, how can you be more financially secure? So that's the origin story.
That's actually really good because I also have an ABN, and when I used to freelance and all of that, I was always I have no idea what I'm doing. I was just doing stuff, and then I met you, and then you recommended me My Gigsters, and then I got it, and it was amazing.
Yeah, I think it's as we all know, over the last 5 years, people are willing to do things that they actually like and love about, and there is no judgment on it anymore, and people are encouraged in many ways to do it, and people are also starting to call the shots, which means they are taking more responsibility on their decisions and their choices. And what that means is people are prioritizing different things than what people were prioritizing earlier. Earlier it could have been title, salary, or office perks, or job stability. Now people are, at least the younger workforce that I can see, evidently are prioritizing flexibility, purpose, mission.
Culture.
So yeah, so they are more connected to the things that they want to do, and this is a big shift. I feel this is a good shift, but it's also a big shift. I've got 2 kids, right? I don't know what they will be when they're 20 years old. I guarantee they'll be a gig worker, because I don't think they'll be going for a company. I don't think the construct of 9 to 5 will exist.
Do you think so?
Yeah, it is not really already not existing in as we go. Nobody does 9 to 5 anymore, even though there is 9 to 5. Work from home, I don't think 9 to 5 works there. Oh, sorry for the folks that are doing work from home, but
Well, that's actually a very interesting perspective that you think that 9 to 5 will not work anymore. Are you saying that in context of if you're working from home, your hours may change or you'll have flexibility in terms of you can choose to start at 7 and finish at 3? Or are you saying that people will start working for themselves more, but then if that happens, how do you get the employees? Because that's...
I think the world will move to a more flexible nature of work. What that means is you will be given a task, a role to play, and an objective to reach, not necessarily have to clock in at 9 and clock out at 5. I don't think it even makes it even attractive to younger workforce anymore. The choices that what workforce wants today is the ability to contribute, ability to make an impact without the constraints of being in a box. That's why hybridization of workplace is happening. Flexible workplace is one of the biggest needed perks right now. Yeah, work from home is one attribute, I think, of a flexible workspace, but also is the globalization of talent. You could actually sit here and work for a company in the US, or somebody could sit in Mongolia and serve customers in Australia. It doesn't really matter anymore where you are. It does matter if you have the skill to contribute, which is good, which is something that everybody should have if you're working. But it is borderless. It is borderless. It is global. Organizations are wanting this kind of access, which the future right now and will the future have more.
I like that.
Very interesting, because when you think of it, there are still so many people who are so risk averse as people. But I do agree that everybody is a little bit more passion driven now, and they want a more purpose driven. So that is a very interesting perspective, that shift will happen, because you're right, it is already happening. Like, nobody wants to be boxed down anymore. But I was reading, in fact, today that there are more companies asking their employees to come to the office, at least like Tuesday to Thursday, because of which businesses in like the city are like, it's helping them, because there are more people actually coming to the office. So yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see how that plays out, for sure.
But imagine a world where you have the stability of being in a 9 to 5. You have the security of being a 9 to 5. You get a fixed income. Somebody takes care of your taxes. Somebody pays off your insurance. Somebody takes care of your retirement. Everything that you get in 9 to 5, but still you get to do whatever you want to do. Wouldn't that be the nirvana that everybody wants?
Yes, but sometimes I think that is 9 to 5 really that secure? Because as you said, in like COVID, so many people were finding time for their passions because they had so much time in their hands and etc. etc. But so many people got laid off.
Yes.
I got laid off last year. Like, I was told that day to stop my work, and I had no work from that time. So I was like, well, I am grateful that I have a little bit of emergency fund right there for me, so that I can do whatever I want with that money and figure out what I want to do next. But so many people don't have that. So if you only have $200 in your bank account and you get laid off, that's not really a security in your 9 to 5 as well, if you think of it.
We're talking about the future, right? And I don't know. I'm thinking of my kids. They are 6 and 3. When Anika turns, with my elder one, when she turns 18, I'm believing that she'll be ready to go and find some gigs. This is how I'm thinking, right? Because I don't think she will. What will happen 18 years from now? AIs will be there. I don't know. I definitely think more automation, more AI, and possibly less of all of this work that we are doing is done by more AI, and then there's only a cream of work that we would be doing. So you don't necessarily need to have a company even to run the show. I think organizations will exist, companies will exist, workplaces will exist, but the definition of work will change significantly.
Yeah, you'll probably be paid more for your value and the skill that you bring rather than the time that you put into the work, for sure.
I remember when I was growing up, my first companies I used to work for, when you go and see the most senior person in that organization and say, "Sir, how long you been here?" I've been here for 15 years. We're like, "Wow, 15 years. This guy must know shits, right?" Now you walk into a company and you see something like I've been here, like something's wrong with you.
Well, that's how, anyway, I shouldn't.
More than 2 years, you feel like it's something wrong with you, I guess, no, because you're not moving.
Yeah, like,
So that's, loyalty is defined differently now. It's not about how long you've been in the organization. So it's interesting.
it's how much you help them grow.
It's how much you help them grow. Yes.
That's true. I agree with that. Very interesting. But you mentioned that you had passed, like you were selling a company when you came up with the idea for My Gigsters. Do you want to tell a little bit more about that past company and
Yeah.
already built and sold businesses? Tell us more about that.
When I was towards the end of my masters, I wanted to do startup, right? And I had a couple of attempts, those failed attempts. We'll have another podcast on just on failed attempts, but it was probably 6 or 7 attempts that I made. A lot of different company names that I registered, but none of them worked out. So I thought, okay, there'll be something that I can do. I was working as a management consultant. I was consulting different companies, and part of my experience, I learned about workplace management. So I said, okay, I thought that the future will be more digitized. So I built this company called My Safety Bot, which was essentially a company where we put a bunch of sensors inside the workplace, and it'll collect data from that workplace, and it'll use the data to then make that workplace more hybrid. For example, it'll tell how the space has been used so that they can optimize space, where the footfall is there so that they can have cleaning routines based on higher traffic zones. They can geofence an area, indoor navigation, all of that. So I thought the future workplace will be digital. It will be digital hybrid workplace, and we could do this using sensor data inside the workplace. So I launched this company along with some safety elements like safety incidents and reporting and stuff, but I had no clue of how to sell it because I was still a student and I was on post-study work visa and I had a full-time job, and I knew nobody in Australia to how to even sell this product. And I managed to get some pilot projects. Then I had a reseller in India who was buying my sensors and then reselling it. And then COVID hit, all businesses pretty much closed down, so there was no room for me to sell anything. But my reseller continued to buy more sensors from me. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Everybody is closing business and apparently you're getting sensors. Like, he was like, only in Australia you guys are closed down, rest of the world is already opening. Or they're already started to think about return to work and all of this stuff. So there is a demand, and henceforth I'm able to keep selling. So this was after COVID, right? And I was looking at the gig workers problem more closely, and it was more emotional, more closer to me because I've been there and I have that emotional connection. I was looking at my safety bot. I'm like, oh. So I called the reseller and said, things are not working out for me. Like I don't know. Nobody's buying, and all workplaces are closed down. I don't know what to do. The reseller said, look, if you don't know what to do and if you can't sell it, why don't you just give it to me? I will buy the company and I'll continue to sell it. I said, okay, that was a good idea. So I exited the company. I sold the business to my reseller, who ended up reselling and taking the product further. But then I exited from that. I exited because I wanted to get into My Gigsters. Not that I didn't know what to sell, how to sell there. But My Gigsters where, once in a while you come across something that you are subconsciously connected to it. You don't know why. You probably don't even, you might have to spend a lot of time to even understand the why. But it's like love at first sight. I don't know why, but I like it.
Have you read the book Big Magic?
Yes.
It talks about exactly that. That an idea comes to your head when it has to come, and then it stays with you, and it's up to you if you act on it or not. But if it's not for you, it's just gonna leave you and go away. But it's exactly that.
Yes. So I felt that this was kind of pulling me in. So I had to make the choice. I said, you know what? What will I do for the next 10 years building one company? What is one thing that I'll do for the next 10 years if I want to do? I said that will be my Gigsters, because that's a problem that I wanted to solve. Um, and there was also a bit of a backstory to that, because I come from very probably lower middle class Indian family. It was not, I lived in a household that didn't have money. I remember there were nights and days that we were struggling to have a lot of things. So my initial childhood was memories of financial struggle. Luckily, my parents moved out of India and we had a bit of a financial uplift after a certain period, but I still have very strong memories of that childhood. Not that now I don't blame anything on anybody for that, but I do know what it means to not have things. It is not the problem that my Gigster is solving, but it is kind of connected. That's why for us, financial security seems to be the problem that I want to solve. I don't care how, I don't care what product we sell, but if there was a world where that person can be financially secure, what will that world look like? And that world is what my Gigster should create. So I didn't, this what I'm saying right now, the backstory was not what I knew when I started my Gigsters. I had to go back and revisit that childhood over the last few years for me to find deeper connection to what I'm doing and also why I'm doing, for me to then have the resilience to go forward. So yeah.
And the entrepreneurial bug in you, which I can tell you've had for a while, firstly, when did that start? And why do you think that started?
I think it started back when I was probably very young and even at school. I give you an episode, right? So I love to draw, and I used to draw a lot of things. I'm very good in doing pencil sketching and a lot of good art. And in school, I don't know if you remember, like 10th grade and 12th grade, you got to prepare this biology, chemistry, record books. And so since I'm very good at drawing, I used to finish my biology and zoology record books, botany and zoology record books really neat and clean, because it's a lot of drawing. The student next to me, or my friend, was delayed to submit his, and he came to me and said, Benji, can you help me do this? I said yes. He said, can you give it to me tomorrow? I said yes. But I said, you need to give me something. She said, how much? 20 bucks. So he gave me 20 bucks, 20 rupees, and I did the entire record book for him.
Wow, he got such a good deal with that.
And then you would know, then a week later, I had 50 other students wanted to do record books with me, and because they're all delayed. Don't tell people hearing now, say Benji. So yes, I wrote, that was my first gig ever, unofficially. It was not entrepreneurial, I'll tell you why, because what was in my mind was, I want money. Let's be honest. And also I thought it was about, I'm doing something of value, so you should give me something, you know what I mean? Like shamelessly, I think it was driven for some kind of value that I will give, and you need to give something back in return. And that money, I enjoyed it. I think I and the friends, we all had amazing snacks. I still remember vividly what I did with that money. And it was an episode that I always will remember, because it was an episode that triggered some of the thoughts that I didn't have before. Oh, somebody will pay for things for you.
Yeah. Because that's when you realize that you can be paid for when you're adding value into someone's life, and also it can, at the same time, you can be passionate about it because you love drawing.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
And also, my household, as I told you, we were not well off. So that gave me, when I was growing up as a teen, like early 7th, 8th, 10th standard, I felt that I need to generate money to take care of myself. Not that my parents won't take care of me, but I thought if I could support my family, what would that look like? Me taking care of myself. So right from 10th grade, I pushed myself to go find things that will help me pay my bills, whether it is having something for myself, whether it is funding my travel, whether it is funding a haircut, whatever it could be. So I was all constantly looking for things where I would spend time, have fun, and get money. So it was driven by the need for being independent, and for being independent I needed some cash flow, and that came from the gigs that I would pick, and I picked up every gig that I could pick up. So today it has changed. My relationship with money has changed. My relationship with what means entrepreneurship has changed. But that was where how it was.
I was just gonna ask, what is it now? Like, is it the passion for the problem that drives you? Or is it how big this business could be and what that could bring to you, in material success, that helps you keep pushing every day, even though you were saying earlier, like it makes you a very happy man, but it's still a lot, especially when you're navigating the startup world. So what is it that drives you now?
Purpose. There's a saying, you need to leave the world better than how you found it in the first place. And I think I've understood that after going through corporate life, making money is not a problem. If you're smart, people will give you money. Money will come. Money is a byproduct of what value you generate. So for me, it was an intentional choice on what should I do with what I have, and that means who should I help with what. To me, that was the question. So that means I need to have a purpose. Now the purpose was, okay, I'm good at something. What I'm good at making bad decisions quickly. That's what a CEO does. I'm really good at that. So I'm good at making that. And what can I do? This I can run a business, because you can make a lot of bad decisions quickly. And that was driven by the purpose. The why was impact and purpose. Yes, there is a complementary byproduct, and that is about me and my team having more fulfillment on what we are doing, to putting our skills into something purposeful, and also reaping the benefits of that value that we create. And I've got a family to feed, so I'm not doing it for free, obviously. So I'm getting money out of what I'm doing. So that combo of Ikigai, now has come together. It's like you have a purpose, somebody's willing to pay for it, and apparently you love it, and you've got a talent to do it. Seems like it is all joining together, and that what drives it now.
That is so interesting. But like, it is really hard to find your Ikigai. I feel like it takes ages for people to figure it out. When did you think that you found it? Like, this is it. This is your Ikigai. This is what you want to do.
I don't believe it happens in an episode. It is a flow. You go through life with life takes you, and then the universe. This is what I keep saying. Life is not happening to you. Life is happening for you. So whatever is happening around you is actually happening for you. It's probably you don't realize, you don't see. You might see it in different perspectives. Oh my God, that shit happened, and maybe that shit was supposed to happen. And if that shit didn't happen, this shouldn't have happened. So it is about letting the universe do its work and trusting life. And then in that flow, I believe there will be a moment in that flow where things will seems to be fall in that place. The reason why I say that is because that won't be permanent. It will be a flow. I am in a state where I think there is Ikigai, and I appreciate, and I'm blessed to have that. But I don't think I will exist in that state forever. There's something will come like a tsunami and wipe this shit out, and maybe I'll put it into in a new journey, and who knows. So I've understood that I'm not in search of Ikigai, but I'm in search of presence. I want to appreciate the life of how it is treating me, and I wanted to use that to treat others properly. That's simple. And then life goes simply. And it's more seeking peace than happiness. Ikigai is a quest. And I think everybody gets a moment in time where it happens, and then probably it happens for a while, and then new things happen, and then you're searching for a new thing, and then new things happen.
That's very interesting. I totally agree with what you say, because like, it's so interesting, before this podcast, when you were telling us your story of that everything happened at literally the last minute, last day before you didn't have your visa and stuff. But it's crazy that it had to happen at that time, but it happened for you. Like, You were meant to stay in Australia.
Yeah.
We were meant to come to South Australia. You were meant to meet us. You were meant to be on this couch today.
I was.
Podcast right now. It is all planned. You know, there's that movie. I don't know if you follow many Hindi movies, but in Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, it says "Sab likha hua hai." It's all written. You know, it's destined. It's all set.
That's interesting. But then that makes me also realize that, of course, things are happening for you like all the time, but then also you have to recognize those moments where you need to take a decision and you need to take action and you need to just go for the thing. Like you went for that My Gigsters when you had the opportunity to either go for it or just keep your previous business, and you decided to go for it. You decided to listen to your intuition and just take that action. But then also throughout your journey you've had so much resilience. You've created so many businesses, sold them, and you faced so many challenges, but you've still decided to keep going even though you have like a full family to feed. Like, how do you find that resilience?
I think resilience comes from, for us, all of us as immigrants, I can say we're all innately resilient. The moment we took that flight with no clue of what is there on this side of the world, whether it's summer or winter, like we have a different season, that in itself means we've got the courage and to explore the unknown. And now that you're still here means that you've got the courage to pull it off. I think resilience comes from that. I think a lot of from our upbringing back home and our cultural ways, we've always been taught to be resilient. We've always been taught to be part of a challenging and a competitive space. Failure was pretty daily, so you would have to face failures at a very young age. It's because you're super competitive, right? And but then when I see resilience today, resilience is probably a combination of knowing your why really good. Why are you doing what you're doing? How you're doing and everything is, but why seems to be the strongest center point of that resilience coming through. And then the number two is understanding me and who I am personally. And that is a big challenge by itself, because I've got so many dark boxes that I don't open, so many demons that I don't address, so many things internally, so many mirrors that I don't want to see. There's a lot of things that are internally, but over time, the biggest thing that I had to do, at least in the last 15-20 years, is to learn more about me, on how I fit into the world that I have to be. And that means me being vulnerable. I never used to share things. Coming from an Indian family, you can't even ask for help. Asking for help seems to be like you are.
Can't hug your dad. Like,
It's
true. It's true.
I didn't ask for help for a lot of times in Australia, because I thought asking for help is like something inferior. So being vulnerable is not a fantastic thing to be. You can't go say I am scared, I'm worried, and so a lot of inner reflection has. I know who I am today. I'm not perfect, and that is what I know. I'm not good, and I know what I'm not good. I know what I'm good at, or what I appreciate life and what I don't appreciate in life. I know what my values are, and I believe in them. And so this, along with my why, seems to be the best combo to power my resilience. So I don't care if something doesn't work out. In fact, I'm not even expecting it to work out. I'm just going to do the job. It will work. If it works out, it will work out. If it doesn't work out, no problem. I'll come back and do it again. So I'm not really looking at, oh my God, if I try this, it has to happen. What I'm doing is I have to try this. That is what I'm going to do. I only see that, and I will wholeheartedly try it, using whatever smartness that I have. If not, I'll borrow some from the team, because they're smarter than me, and we'll work together. And if we fail, all good, we come back, we learn, we do it again. But that doesn't defy why we're doing. We always are purposeful, we know what we want to do, and we'll keep on doing it. And I think that state of being is more fascinating, more interesting than being on the outcome stage. I believe that state is, it's okay, you know. I think this part of doing is probably more exciting.
I agree. I agree with you so much right now. I cannot even, because like of course that I'm so passionate about self-love, and then I really enjoy telling people or just myself that just spending time with myself is the best way I can get to know myself, and knowing things about myself help me get so much clarity for life and helps me make decisions so much easier because I know what I stand for, I know what I believe in, and that makes me just make those decisions for myself, set boundaries, go for what I want, and live the life that I want to live. And seems like it's the similar for you.
Yeah.
And I think it's a harder journey for men in general compared to women, because men are always taught to not listen to their emotions and just not be very empathetic, or just not listen to the inner thoughts and inner feelings. But you did that. Like, how did you overcome those societal pressures?
Very interestingly, in my master's, I actually did a research subject on the topic called the theory of masculinity. It was a Sydney professor who she wrote about this. There is a hierarchy in men. There's different types of men in society. There's the alpha men, and there is hegemonic male. There is different men, and this is not a sexual theory. It is also not a gender theory. It is a societal definition of what a gender is. So the same hierarchy also applies to women. Not all women are treated the same, even in the women. So even in women have subconscious hierarchies. So for example, men, you see CEOs, right? CEOs needs to be very athletic, tall, fully shaved, neat, very alpha. And that was like the Fortune 500. You look, all the cover pictures look exactly the same. They have to be the go-getters, the risk takers. They can't cry, they can't show fear. They have to be the warriors. And it's not a gender theory. It is not how nature wants you to be. It's a society's definition of how you should need to be. But this has been changing as we are getting more and more, talking about mental health. We're talking about, anybody can be vulnerable. It's okay to be vulnerable. That is changing our definition of, how kids are even treated at school. You're okay to cry. Earlier, if you're a boy, you shouldn't cry. No boy should cry, especially in front of a girl. You can't cry. I think so. That the theory of masculinity is changing. I had an amazing my partner is super amazing, and having someone close like that who understands my life in the way that my life runs. My life is not amazing every day. It starts nice, sometimes it goes shit down and then goes somewhere. I might have 300 things that went bad that day. But having someone close you and doesn't care about the bad things, and then it's okay for me to be vulnerable, that is where the shift happens. It's the acceptance of somebody, me being me. People accept, and I think that is good. And if they don't accept, I don't think it's my problem anymore. Seems like they have a problem.
I agree.
Sorry, sir. You need to go back to school. So yes, it's just choices.
I think it's also then your mindset, because you had that mindset like, I'm going to be who I want to be, and like it's your choice if you want to accept me like that or not. That probably helped you get through that societal thing, because you're like, well, I'm going to be what I want to be, so it's your choice if you accept me or not. Because if people have that mentality that what other people are going to think, and they get affected by what other people think about them around them, then they change their behaviors and stuff as well. So I think it gets back to how close you are to yourself and how closely you know your own values and beliefs, and then of course your support system around you. Yeah, beautifully said. I love that.
But going back to your partner that you said that she's a very supporting woman, do you think, and I sort of know while asking this question, the answer is yes, but how much of a part do you think, having a supportive partner plays in somebody pursuing entrepreneurship, especially in your context when you're an immigrant, right? Like you don't have your visa figured out. There are so many uncertainties. And then you have a family and a partner, and if like I can't imagine if there is a partner who's just like, no, this is not going to work, like this is too uncertain. Like what are your thoughts on that, and how much of a part she's played in your journey?
I think, if you look back at, all the big successful entrepreneurs have come out, they all had difficult marriages, um, because entrepreneurship is very consuming. It not only consumes time, but it is also mentally very demanding. I might sound crazy, but I got this background noise that will never stop. Like it keeps running. It's keep running. I'm still thinking. I'm thinking different things. So it is a challenge to balance family, especially be around my kids and have quality time with my family. So it's very, very important that somebody keeps me in check, in a good way, and make sure that I do the right things, be there when I need them. And this, for me, in a setup as a young family, that role is played by my partner. In different setups, it could be a close friend, it could be a brother or a sister, or someone that you know. But to me, it is my partner, and I knew my partner right from my undergrad. So I literally grew up with her. So I had a far more deeper connection to just marriage. Um, but it is important because, um, with all the chaos that happens in my work life, the partner is the buffer to all that chaos, and then allows me to be risky but also keep me in check, allows me to be ambitious but also keep me grounded, allows me to be connected but also leave me with my own time. It's that fine little balance. How does that work? It only comes from deeper appreciation and respect for each other. I really like what you're doing, and I really respect what you're doing, and I think you should do what you're doing, and I'm going to give you all the support that I can to help you do what you're going to do, because and I also believe in what you do, because you're trying to do something good and I wanted to be part of it. And this works both ways. So I have the same level of appreciation and respect, and I treat my partner with the same level of respect, and the same level of preferences and importance on her career and her choices and her things to do. And it's very, very reciprocal. Only in that this kind of transaction happens. Anything less, or you're working from home, I'm the one who's doing more. If you start to look at who does more or who does earn more or work more, suddenly now you're creating what is called an imbalance. It is, I don't think it's about anything of that. There are times that I did not do much, and the breadwinner was my wife. There are times that she didn't do, and the breadwinner is me. But all of this happens in a good relationship. That is what it means, right? I think having a partner or a supportive person is important, but it's also about respecting that relationship, and respecting that person for who they are is even more important, and that kind of seals the relationships also.
And while we're talking about your partner, I know she's working on something really cool. So why don't you tell us about her new business?
Yeah. She, COVID, COVID has brought a lot of entrepreneurs, including my partner. um,
Even I started a business in COVID as
I
well.
also did.
should we call ourselves the COVID preneurs or something?
Let's do that.
Sounds very sad. No, so after we had kids, and in after COVID, we had more time, and we want to make some healthy choices. So my wife was like, we should be able to have healthy choices. So we start cutting things like, we don't have sugar at home. We don't take sugar. We started less processed foods. We didn't give sugar to Anika until she was 3, like 0. And the only form of sugar she had was from fruits and any other food. And in this pattern, she like, I wanted to give things that she likes, like cookies and cakes and pastas and like kids stuff. But I don't want to give her what is there in the store. I want to give her the healthy side of things, and that made her go look for options. And she went and obviously we all come from India. She realized millet had those kind of nutritions that she was happy to feed to the kids. She ended up making a lot of millet based products, like she started making cookies and cupcakes and cakes and chocolate beverages. She made millet based spaghettis and pastas. So she started experimenting millet mainly for the kids and to make it fun and lovely for the kids to eat. And then when she went and talked to others, especially Australian households, not the Indian immigrants or Australian households, they had no clue what millet was. What millet? Apparently, millet is actually a bird food or a farm food in Australia. So it's not a stock that people like how in India we've got so many types of millets and we actually use it in our day-to-day things. It was not that because lack of awareness and nobody knew what the properties were. Millet is low glycemic index, it is gluten free, and it is far more good with fiber and rich protein. So it's a really good choice as opposed to having something else. So she thought of this, why don't I go and talk about millet to people who don't know about millet and encourage them to choose millet over other things. And as a result, she's now launching a brand called Yura, means healthy lifestyle, and it's an Aboriginal word.
Really?
And she's now bringing a series of initiatives and products that talks about healthy lifestyle in general, but also the use of millet in your daily household things, in your recipes, and how will that help. And she's got a few products that she's coming out.
So cool. I love that for her.
That is so cool. So is it like ready to made kind of products that they're thinking, or?
Yeah, she's got millet based pasta, millet based cookies. She's got a cake mix that's made completely of millet and a few other things, no sugar, like no processed sugar and stuff. So she's got a few products like that around millet, but she's also experimenting other items to add with millet to then enrich the nutrition value. So she's now turning into a food scientist, by the way. So I'm pretty excited about what she's getting into because she loves that space of, and we have got young kids, so that are guinea pigs. They try it and it's like, mommy, we like it. Oh,
I like that. I like
early adopters inside the house.
Perfect, perfect. It's a family of entrepreneurs as well, from what I can tell. And you already know that your kids are going to be gig workers.
Gig workers, yes.
So it's all sorted.
So do you like just teach each other business, like the things that you have to do when you're just starting out? Because of course when you're just starting out your own business, there's so many things that you have to learn as you go, and especially being an immigrant and you're starting your own startup like a fintech business where you need to raise money, where you need to go through so much stuff to figure out visa things while also doing business things and taxes and so many things that goes in. You figured out everything on your own. How did you do that?
Actually, you shouldn't take mine as an example. It's probably mine is the worst. I would have done better if I didn't figure it out on my own. Let me put it that way, because I should have asked for more help and I didn't. If I had asked for help and if I had help from the right person, I would have probably taken better decisions, or I would have speed up a few things, because that I didn't, there's a little imposter always within you, like you're not good enough, you don't know, and there's also like you're new to this world, don't talk too much. And I've been in these rooms where I will always be quiet, because not that I don't want to say anything, I was like, I know, like that kind of thing that I don't know, seems like it's a new thing but I had to break that. I had to break it I remember, I think it happened roughly around this 2017, 2018, where like, F off everybody. This is me. I will shamelessly ask for everything now. I will demand what I want. And that is key. I think if anyone wants to figure things out, please go and talk about it, share about it, but just be mindful and cautious also, right? You don't want to get advice from the wrong people. So you should be smart enough to take which advice, where and what. You will obviously take bad advices and you'll make mistakes, but you will learn that over time. So today, if I don't know anything or if my wife doesn't know anything, that's what we do. We just ask people that we trust, like, hey, do you know anyone who has done this? How do we get shipment from places like India? How do we do packaging? I don't know. Hear me out, right? I don't come from software. I don't know how to build software. I am not a fintech person. I've never worked in fintech. But here I am building a fintech company, raised a couple of $1 million, have an amazing team. Does that mean I'm the wrong person for the wrong job? No, I know the problem really well. I have been there, I've seen it, I've got full insight on what I should be doing. So what out to counteract the things that I don't know, I keep learning. Obviously, I learn a lot, I know more than what I did before, but I've got an amazing team that knows stuff and they know how to do it. So now it becomes the right thing to do. So I believe when everyone takes an entrepreneurial journey, you probably don't know. And that's okay to not know.
But also, I think in your context, there are probably not very many, I guess, immigrant people who have built businesses and at the scale at which you're building it, with raising money and going to investors. So I'm sure when you were out there, even looking for resources, you probably didn't have as many people to look up to and be like, oh, this person would know exactly what I'm going through and I can go talk to them. But it's good that we have you on the podcast so that you can help out somebody who is in the same journey, because, as immigrants, as international students, a lot of people do want to pursue entrepreneurship because, like you said, they're not risk averse in the sense that they have taken the risk to come here and start this journey. So they have that in them and they want to push it further. But often, when you're an immigrant, there's so many things to think of, right? So what are the top three tips that you can give to international students who want to pursue entrepreneurship?
First thing is to not fear. Oh, I don't know. Obviously, you don't know. That's the good baseline to start. So fear not and be okay to ask for help. That's number one. Number two, know your why more than what. People have a lot of ideas, but idea means nothing. So instead of chasing an idea, chase a problem. Fall in love with the problem as much as you can do and not with the solution. And that will help you stay more focused, more resilient. And the third thing is accept failure faster. It is okay to fail, but you should be able to accept it and move on really quickly. If you're going to just mull around and think, and oh my God, I shouldn't have taken this decision, it's all because of that bad decision, I should have done this, you're not in the game. So knowing the game means you have to fail. So 3 tips would be: fear not, ask for help, 2, accept failure and be okay with it, and 3 is to fall in love with the problem and not with the solution.
I love that. That's actually really good. It's true because I think I related to the one where you said that you fail but you recover from the failure, because I launched my business in October last year and my launch did not go as I planned it to go because I had really high expectations from myself. But of course, like, things will not happen the way you want them to happen. But I think it's in my head, like, I haven't been able to recover from it like fully because I'm feeling so stuck. Like, I don't know what to do next. Like, I really want to explore what else I can do and how I can scale it, and so many questions in my head. But I think just it's this some sort of thing that's not letting me take the next step, and I don't know how to do it.
I think I have an analogy, right? And the analogy of business is a bit like a boxing game. So you go round 1, so you throw a few punches and you get a few punches, and then you take a refresh. Round 2, you know you will get punches. 100%. It's not like you won't get punches. You will get punches. And then you go round 2, you get a few punches, you throw a few punches, and then you come. And then round 3. See, now your brain knows that, damn, you will get punches, 100%. It's not like, oh my God, I can't get punches. You will get punches. So boxing is not about how many punches you have thrown or how many punches you got. It's how many rounds you can stay alive. If you can stay as much as long, what eventually happens is one of you get tired and you don't have the force to throw a punch. That is exactly where a knockout happens. Because you can't protect yourself, you're tired because you've just gone through 10 or 20 rounds of just going back and back. So it is almost training your brain, telling that I am going to go next round, and you know what? I'm going to get punched on my face. And I'm okay with it. It seems like I've trained the brain to be okay with just getting punched on the face. In your episode, what you've done is launch, and that's the good news. Yes, you got a punch on the face, and that's part of the game. Now round 2, I'll tell you, you will get punched on the face. But that's the game. But you will also throw a few punches, it's a game. You will also then round 3 will be there. You're not stuck. You're just taking a refreshment. Round 2 is about to start. You have to go, and the more rounds you go, one day you will realize that, pain is part of the problem here. Part of the thing is to go through this.
You're absolutely right. Actually, I really like the boxing analogy. I'm gonna think about it over and over, and I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back stronger. Oh,
Nice. That's actually a really good analogy because
Yeah. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Oh, we have one last question from you before we wrap up the episode. It's, think about 2015 version of Benji, right? Who was a recent international student and he had just come here, right? What is this one thing that you'll tell your younger version about your life?
I will encourage the younger version of Benji to explore and do things even if it doesn't make sense, even if it's not getting material outcome. I would encourage Benji to continue to pursue things that excites Benji. Often when you come here as an immigrant, first thing is, when will I get PR? The last thing is also when you get PR. And many people come with great ambitions and visions, and then their only goal is to get a residency. And once after they get the residency, somehow all that ambitions they had disappears. And they just become into the rat race of everybody else. And I don't think it's not a bad thing, but deep inside you, you had some amazing dreams. It's just that you just forgot them. And I don't want me or any other future version of anyone else, if they got a chance, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's uncertain. It's okay. It's unsettled. It's okay. You don't know. It's okay. You don't have money. It's okay. People judge you. It's okay. You will fail. It's okay. A lot of things will go outside your control. It's all okay. But what is not okay is just not doing things that excites you. And one day you'll become 40 years, or I'm not 40, I'll turn 40 very soon, and you realize like, shit, I wasted a lot of time. I should have done this then. Yeah. So yes.
I like that. Never let the inner spark die. And if it dies, you need to reignite it.
Yeah. Have you seen this Kung Fu Panda movie, the second one, the last thing, where, who am I? Am I a son of a goose? Or am I a dragon warrior, or am I a panda? And then that's a good climax. And then apparently the answer there is like, I'm everything.
Yeah.
So that's what life is. Who am I? Am I this? Am I like? The answer is you're everything. That's what it.
Whoever you want.
Yes, I can be whatever.
Yeah.
Often that we don't strike that chord really well. We wanted to be someone for somebody else. And that's a problem. And now all of a sudden we have 6 different identities for 6 different cohorts. We have an identity management inside our wireframe. Oh, I'm with my friends. I'm in friends identity. I'm at work. I've got a work identity. I'm at family. Got a family identity. And suddenly we have an identity manager inside. I have to switch language, dress code. So it's a matrix of identities. It's a shit. It's actually very. I had to work all that out because I feel, and people who are listening or watching this, if you have multiple identities and you don't know you have, you should get that checked out like really soon, because it is one of the most draining thing in life. Today I do have identities, right, but I've reduced it to very much close. So I've got a very closer version of mine that I know, and I'm the most open version that I know that many people know me. It is okay to have a little bit of closeness, but yeah, I know a lot of people have, I don't know, 10, 15 different identities for the world, and I don't know who I'm talking to sometimes.
You're so right.
I agree.
Yeah.
But that was a beautiful advice. Yeah, the spark one. I loved it.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much, Benji. We had a great conversation.
Yes, it was so incredible. But before we end this, why don't you tell us a little bit about the projects you're working on and any special shout outs that you want to give?
I think I love what you guys are doing, and I think what you're doing is I'll tell you why I like that. I love what you're doing because you're talking to an audience that needs to be talking too much, and that's the audience that are currently, they're young and they're lost. Not in a bad way. They're lost in a good way. But what they need is to be part of a community, part of a conversation, part of a safe space where they can explore and be excited about things and not be judged by the world or the frames of the world. So hats off to whatever you're doing, and all the episodes going forward and the ones that before will do justice to that crowd. So that's my biggest call out. So you're doing an amazing job, and you should continue to do this. And anyone who's listening should support these guys.
Like, follow, share, subscribe right now.
Yes, if you're not doing it, we will come to your house. We know where you live. But what is exciting for me is, of course, I'm working on a few things that are like project wise. I'm excited about Yura. I'm excited because this is my cheeky side. I feel my wife has given a lot for me to be where I am today, and I somehow feel this is my give back time. Not that I want, not that it's like, not it's not like a balanced transaction, but I really want her to do what she'd love to do, not in any mediocre way. She has to do it in the best way possible. So I'm super excited what she's seeing, and I know her from when she was 17, so literally grew up with her. So to me, making her do what she loved to do in the best way possible will be probably the best stuff that I can do.
That is the sweetest thing.
Such a green flag you are.
Sweetest thing I can do.
No green flag, no? Okay. Thank God.
I met my wife and we were good friends, and that turned into relationship, and today we are we're a husband and wife. Sometimes we actually pitch ourselves like, we're seriously, like we are father and mother. This is how it's working. Like we're still pulling our legs. We're still playing like that young kids that we used to, and we still haven't grown up in that. But we often have to go back. Like, we've been together for so many years.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy, and we're still together. It's even more crazy. So I think we just got lucky in how it worked out, but we also worked out because we are also equally lazy. Yeah, we're not forcefully had to do anything. You don't like me, I don't know, I'm shameless, I'll come and talk. So it's we're lazy to pull things like. I was her first boyfriend and she was my first. Imagine how lazy we have been in our relationships. We're like, this guy, okay, this girl seems to be all good. Why have to work so much to, relationship is hard exercise. And, I grew up where there was digital relationships happening. I was at the spark of digital relationship. Today, everything is digital. But I was at that journey where it was sparking out. Tinder. I'm the first phase of Tinder, version 1. Um, um, because I was not in Tinder, but when I was there, that's when Tinder happened. I was there when it happened.
As never happened.
Yes. So, oh my God, it's to me. I so much appreciate life, not because of what has life given me. It's about the amazing people like my wife and others who brought me into life. Oh, amazing.
It's like the pieces of puzzle fit together really well. That's why probably you feel like it's a lazy relationship. It's probably not. It's just it just works really well.
Do you know there's a scientific evidence to this in quantum physics, right? So apparently in the quantum world, we're all quantas, like a little less than an atom. We're in a state. I'm going to go too scientific, but that's the quantum world. We're all quantum material. So what happens in that world? Seems like an atom at an atomic level, they all move not randomly. They all move from some universal, some direction, some purpose is there. One atom moving to another atom and one another something. Some instructions are there.
It's frequency. They are vibrating at a frequency, and you attract to the people that you are vibrating at the same frequency at.
So, I meeting you, you meeting her, and this is all happening because we are all at a quantum level supposed to work.
Yeah, you're right.
Like you said, it's all written.
सब लिखा हुआ है.
Yeah, this episode also was written 200 years back. We just took it from the.
Now is the time to make it happen. But I think that's a great note to end this episode. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
podcast, and please go follow My Gigsters. They're doing some really cool work, and I'm sure, well, Benjemen has gone through the journey of entrepreneurship as an immigrant. So can people find you on LinkedIn or Instagram? Yep.
Hit for Benjemen with Benjemen. You should see me on first page of whatever you're searching on.
Yeah, he writes on LinkedIn every day, so he'll pop up. Anyway, thank you so much for coming. We had a great time talking to you, and I think we should end the episode here.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.